Hello, chemistry students. Today we're going to start talking about our Unit 8 compound stoichiometry, and stoichiometry is simply the study of the quantitative aspects of chemical reactions. Now remember, quantitative means number, so we're talking about the number aspects. Or it could be the art of counting without actually counting, the art of weighing without actually weighing. Molar mass is going to be the topic of this first video. We need to learn about some terminology. Atomic mass is the mass used for elements and is found on the periodic table. So it is this number right here, the atomic mass. Molecular mass is the mass used for covalent compounds, because remember, whenever we see molecule, that means covalent compound. Formula mass is the mass used to represent ionic compounds. And lastly, molar mass, the generic term used for all of these. So if we talk about the molar mass of aluminum, we are also talking about the atomic mass because aluminum is an element. If we talk about the molar mass of carbon dioxide, we are actually talking about the molecular mass as well, because carbon dioxide is a covalent compound. If we're talking about the molar mass of sodium chloride, we are also talking about the formula mass for an ionic compound, because sodium chloride is an ionic compound. We have 4 steps to finding molar mass. First step is to write a correct formula for the compound. So now let's look at our first example. Find the formula mass of calcium phosphate. So the first thing we need to do is write a correct formula for calcium phosphate. Calcium is located right here. It is in group 2, which means it has 2 valence shell electrons. So calcium, is it easier for calcium to gain 6 electrons or lose 2? Because it has 2 valence shell. It's easier for it to lose 2, so that's its oxidation number. Now let's look at phosphate. Phosphate is right here, PO4 with a -3 charge. I'm going to put this in parentheses because it's easier to do that later. Now, how we find out what our chemical compound is, we do our crisscross. This is a review from last unit. So we have Ca3, and then that 2 goes down by the PO4. And since there's more than one, we have to put parentheses. So our formula for calcium phosphate is Ca3PO42. Step 2, you round the average atomic mass of each element to 2 decimal places. Okay, so calcium is right here. Our atomic mass is 40.078. And we need to round it to 2 decimal places. So I am going to, that's right here, 0.7, but I need to look at this 8. Does this 8 make the 7 go up? If it is 5 or more, then it will make the 7 go up. So it is 40.08. Now the units here, there are 2 types of units we can use. We can either use grams per mole, because those are the units. This is a per. Grams per mole, so it's 40.08 grams per mole of calcium, or we can use AMUs, which is atomic mass units. I prefer to use grams per mole, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, phosphorus is right over here, 30.974. We're only going to take 2 decimal places. That 4 does not make our 7 go up, so we are going to keep it at 30.97 grams per mole. If you put AMU, that's fine too. Our next element is oxygen. Oxygen is 15.999, 2 decimal places. So we're going to look at this third one, 9. Does that make this 9 go up? Yes, it does. And when it does, that makes that 9 go up. And when it does, it makes that 5 go up. So 15.999 to 2 decimal places is rounded to 16.00. Third step, you multiply the rounded average atomic mass of each element that we just got by the number of atoms, which is the subscript. So we have calcium 3PO4 2. We have 3 atoms of calcium. So I'm taking 3 times 40.08 grams per mole. We have 2 atoms of phosphorus, because remember there's an implied 1 here, and whatever's inside the parentheses has to be multiplied by the number that's outside of the parentheses. So there's a 2 outside of the parentheses, so we need to multiply it by this 1. 2 times 1 is 2, and that's why we have phosphorus is 2 times 30.97 grams per mole. Oxygen, we have 8, because we need to multiply the 2 times the 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So if you look here, we have 1, 2, 3 calciums. So 3 times 40.08 is 120.24 grams per mole. And 2 times 30.97 is 61.94 grams per mole. If you choose to use AMUs, that's fine too. 8 times 16 is 128.00 grams per mole. Fourth step, you add the total rounded atomic masses of all the elements, and then you label with AMU or grams per mole. So we have our 120.24 plus 61.94 plus 128. It is 310.18 grams per mole, or 310.18 AMUs. Okay, now it's time for you to practice. I would like for you to pause the video and do the next 2 practice problems, and then come and check your answer. Okay, formula mass tells us immediately that it's an ionic compound. Ammonium you will find on the polyatomic ions. It's right here, NH4+. And sulfate is right down here, SO4 with a -2 charge. We're going to do our crisscross. That 2 goes down by the ammonium. So it'll be NH4 and that 1 goes down by the sulfate, and since there's only 1, we do not need a set of parentheses. Okay, check your answers. Go ahead and pause the video and do the next practice problem. Go ahead and check your answers.